Teal and Pink, 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 Teal and Pink. It's Teal and Pink. That's right, folks. It's Teal and Pink. That means it's Saturday, and it must be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And just like on Wednesday, baby, we got stuff down in the description below. And the most important thing down there is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Call it, please. If you guys need it, it's down there, man. And just use it, please. If you guys need to pass it along to somebody, pass it along. Whether they need it or they don't, if you think they might need it, man, just pass it to them. You know, just use it, please. I put it down there every stream. Now I know what you guys are asking yourselves. Input. Where's Oracle? We were promised an Oracle. We want our futures read and told. She's coming. Trust me, she'll be here. It's about 5 minutes behind. We ran out of Dr. Peppers in the house. She had to run up to Mickey D's and get a Dr. Pepper. Woman things. I don't know. What do you guys want from me? I don't know. What's going on, everybody in chat? MC DJ's in the house. He says, let's roll for it. It also says, I remember when I first heard about the Seacons as a kid, never saw them and always thought they were going to be military ships. Surprise. What's up, Princeton Phalanx, man? Hope you're doing all right. Tony Martin in the house. What's up? And Tony Martin also says, I love McDonald's fountain drinks. All right. That's Terrible. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Oh,
hey everyone! I am here finally. Is my audio good?
Yeah, you sound good. Hey, kids! So if you guys don't know what we're talking about this week, we are talking about the Warner Brothers Discovery possible merger. I want to say that it is a possible merger. We're going to talk about that and why it's terrible, all the way around, just terrible. And
Warner Discovery merger? Or do you mean Warner Discovery Paramount merger?
Or Warner Discovery Paramount merger? Jeez, what would that name be? Warner Brothers Discovery Paramount WBDP? Well, that doesn't have a nice ring to it at all, does it?
Well,
but we're also talking about, after that, we're going to talk about, is your collection yours? I'll get more into that topic after we talk about the Warner Brothers Discovery Paramount merger. Jeez. What's up, Blue Raccoon in the chat, man? Hope you're doing all right. MC DJ says it must be 2040 time warp again. Two Teal and Pinks in 1 year. I know, man.
I know. Oh my God.
We didn't have to wait a whole year to do a third episode. Amazing.
I know. Oh my gosh.
So I have the article right here from CNN about this merger. I'm just going to read it out. I think I used CNN last week as well. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really like the way that this is written.
It's
but
AI written.
Huh?
It's AI written, $10.
I mean, it's not that it's worded funny. It's just, it's kind of written from like a slight positive aspect to it, right? So
let's be real here. CNN was purchased by somebody who is very, very much like Rupert Murdoch in their political sphere. So that could also be why as well.
That's true. This analysis was done by Elizabeth Birchwald over at CNN. Has an average read time of 3 minutes. So let's take a longer than 3 minutes to read this. It starts off, it says, picture this in a world that is ran by corporations, right? No, picture this. You select one app on your TV, phone, or computer, and everything you could dream of watching, from live football games to Succession to just about every hit movie imaginable there is out there. Okay, see, that's like the positive to it, right? But like, who cares? Like, are you like, if we've gotten so lazy as a society that we are too lazy to push channel up, channel down, or hit?
That's what I was about to say. You know, to paraphrase Ghosts, which I absolutely love, and it is on Paramount Plus, baby, you're talking about cable.
Right,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
and and let's be real here. It reminds me of that picture, that meme that went viral of this girl talking about landlines. She was saying that everybody doesn't need to have a cell phone in their pocket. They should just have one phone in the house for the household to use. And I'm like, that's a landline. Like, anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
It goes on to say, with Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount in talks for a potential merger that could one day become a reality. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav, our favorite person in the world,
I
met on
love.
Tuesday with Paramount with Paramount Global CEO Bob Bakish, and they broached a potential merger between the two companies. Two people familiar with the matter told CNN, but an offer is not in the works and one isn't likely until spring if it happens at all. That's because a tax provision that was used to facilitate the Warner Media and Discovery merger in 2022 would tax Warner Brothers more heavily if it purchases any additional mergers before April 8th, 2024. The cost of the combined Warner Brother Paramount subscription would likely be more affordable than what you're currently pay for the two services individually, said Jack Kronafis, a
I
senior
call.
a
Sorry.
senior director at Fitch Ratings who specializes in rating US-based companies.
Now, here's the question. We're getting Max for free through our internet service, correct? And
Yes.
we're paying Paramount. So will we be getting this whole shebang for free if this gets merged?
That is right. No, but that's not how that works.
No, I know that's not how it works. But you know what? That'd be nice. Anyway, less money.
Um Well, my thing on this is like, okay, like the spin that they're doing is, imagine a world where you don't have to get off the couch, where you don't have to open up multiple apps to watch multiple things. Imagine a world where you don't have to take 3 seconds to do something. Now, imagine that same world where subscriptions are cheaper. Look, back in the day, dude, we had Netflix. Everybody and their mom had Netflix. We had YouTube, Netflix, and then we still bought DVDs and Blu-rays and whatever. And Netflix was like $8 a month, right? That's what it
Yep.
was. And everybody put everything on Netflix. So much, okay, was on Netflix back in the day. And we're talking up to like 4 or 5 years ago. There was so much on Netflix.
Mhm.
And the crazy thing about all of this now is that they're talking about this merger. And I guess the thing that people aren't comprehending, okay, Band of Brothers is on Netflix. Like
Yep.
that is HBO's, one of HBO's, tentpole shows.
Hold on. I saw something. You keep going, but I saw something on Netflix while I was bored today at my parents'.
So my point in saying that is, if your entire interest was to watch Band of Brothers and it's not on HBO, but you think it is, and you buy HBO and it's not there, right? These companies are cutting themselves off at the knees, right? In order to give Netflix, to get money from Netflix for these shows. So if your entire intention was to watch what Sopranos, Band of Brothers, I don't know, pick something else. Pick something that's not superhero related, right? That's not DC, right? That you don't need HBO for. And it's probably on Netflix and it's probably owned by HBO. Disney is doing it. Disney, however, is not doing it with their tent poles. So things like something like Aladdin, whatever, won't be on Netflix, right? But stuff that they bought through Fox will be on Netflix. So it's like these companies have already given up, but you got Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery here freaking like just trying to charge forward as if they're going to have any type of way to take out Netflix.
Also, if I'm being real here, so you were talking about Netflix. So I was browsing Netflix today, and I came across Young Sheldon. Huh, that's a Paramount show. That's on that shows next day on Paramount, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then I keep clicking through new shows, and then I came across School Spirits.
I don't know what that is. What is
We
that?
watched it. It was that one episode. It was that one show on Paramount Plus. That was a Paramount Plus original about that
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah.
girl who was trying to figure out how she died with a group of ghosts in the school.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that
on
show. Yeah.
Netflix. That's on Netflix.
Yeah. So
So
there
they're still putting stuff on Netflix. Now here's the now and further into my point real quick. I think with the writers strike and the actor strike that happened during the summer, spring into summer this year, I think they're kind of scared because now the industry has to change because of the strike, because of these deals they put out. So I have a feeling that like you're going to be seeing more of these mergers so they have the ability to produce more money to kind of go on the opposite end of this, for the streaming situation. So I do feel like we're going to be seeing more and more mergers, and the streaming wars are now starting to end with I'd say we're going to end up with four main streaming services, and three of those are going to be Netflix, Amazon, and Disney. I really do think so.
I'll add this, Sony did the smartest thing possible, and they were just like, whoever wants it, pay us the rights.
Hmm.
That's it. And kind of everything just kind of got distributed out. Um I mean, if
And
you think go ahead.
and remember, everybody, the big reason why uh, big reason why that we're with this whole actors and actor strike, a big reason for it is because they wanted residuals. The actors and the writers wanted residuals, which they're entitled to. If I'm being honest, you created something, you deserve the residuals of that piece that gets replayed over and over again. That was a huge component of cable and broadcast TV.
Right.
The more it was in syndication, the more residuals you got. Which is why when the Bill Cosby thing went down and they took off all shows of the Cosby Show, a lot of those actors who were involved, the actors and the producers and studio writers and everything like that, they got a big shock because that they were relying on those residuals to continue their livelihoods. So just to kind of give it a context a little bit. So here are all these streaming places like Netflix freaking out. Netflix was one of the lone holdouts for the writers and the actors strike because they did not want to release their streaming numbers.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that due to that, the writers and actors strike is going to have a larger impact on these streaming things. So we're going to be hearing more about it.
I want to say this. Blue Raccoon just kind of blew my mind. He says, I still, be it sad or happy, Blue Bloods is ending in 2024. 14 seasons, dude. I'm
He's
not gonna lie. I thought that show ended at like season 4. I have not kept up with a lot of things that were real popular. 14 seasons is ridiculous. Okay, I mean, good for the show. Don't get me wrong, but like, damn, you know. Let's keep reading this. Goes on to say the article says consumers would see the biggest savings for an ad tier subscription as opposed to an ad free one. He added, of course, that's because the combined subscription would become a lot more appealing to advertisers and lead them to ramp up spending. Ultimately, quote. Ultimately, the goal is reach. The more reach you provide advertisers, the more they like it, end quote, Cronifis said.
that is such a
That's of
weird name.
course, assuming a deal survives the inevitable regulatory hurdles it would face, but there's another not so little problem. Both companies are saddled with mountains of debt.
They said it. They said
Yeah.
it.
Quote, it may not be a perfect marriage if a deal goes ahead, end quote. Darren Nathan, head of equality research at, what is this?
Equity.
Hargreaves Lansdowne, said in a note on Thursday. Spokespeople for Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery declined to comment on the potential merger. Of course they did. Warner Brothers Discovery, the Paramount company of CNN, has been cutting costs and impressing Wall Street with its ability to unload its debt burden after it merged with Discovery in 2022. But it still held a stunning 45.1 billion at the end of the third quarter, down from 49.3 billion at the start of 2023. Buying Paramount would not help Warner Brothers Discovery efforts to unwind its debt burden. Paramount has 15.7 billion in debt, a total that has barely budged all year. For Warner Brothers Discovery to share some of Paramount's debt burden, both parties would likely look to sell some of their assets to reduce their combined debt and lower their overall expenses. Kronfrus said, for instance, he said he could see Paramount selling Black Entertainment Television or BET or CBS. Whether or not that would be sufficient enough for investors to feel comfortable remains to be seen. Kronfush added.
How many times have you pronounced his name this entire read?
I was going to say, every time I pronounce his name differently, take a shot. There's even a possibility that a deal could make it more expensive for Warner Brothers Discovery to pay off its existing debt.
We got to go into our personal hobby.
So far, investors don't appear to be in favor of a combination, which this is good. Look, I hate the investment model that we have right now for companies and stuff and Wall Street and everything. But this right here is going, they're going to have to sway every last investor that this is a good thing. And with all of that debt,
I have a follow-up article regarding that too.
Okay. But with all of that debt, dude, that is going to be that's going to be right there, the crumbling of that foundation right there. Since news of the potential deal broke on Wednesday afternoon, shares of Warner Brothers Discovery dropped over 5%, while Paramount stock rose initially on the report, but returned to level when it's trading at before the report came out. So there you go. A merger does not look like it will happen. But the thing that's really worrisome about it is Disney, they're trying. I feel like this is their attempt, Warner Brothers' attempt to get Disney level. Like Disney owns damn near everything. There is a list of movies out there that Disney owns that you would be really, really surprised that they own, right? Like I saw a list years ago. They own Blood In, Blood Out. Disney owns Blood In, Blood Out. Why? You know what I'm saying? But you also got to think about everything that they're going to have locked up. Everything that they're not going to put on their servers, everything they're not going to stream, everything that they're not going to put on DVD to own. You know, like this is like a mad dash in order to control any kind of media, right? And edit it however they see fit, or whatever the possible outcome for possible outcome of that situation might be. It's a very scary premise. It really is, because like I said, how much stuff that they own could be locked in a vault. And I will say this, I am glad people have kind of woken up to ideas like this, in the sense, like, because let me give an example. I remember when Disney bought Fox, right? Everybody was head over heels for the idea, because they were like, oh my God, yes, Fantastic Four is going to be part of the MCU, and the MCU can't do no wrong. Oh my God, yes, this is going to be fantastic. No more shitty X-Men movies. Yay, this is going to be great. And they didn't look past that. You know, like they just saw the MCU and they were excited about it. They didn't look past it. Here, people are looking past all of the, shout out to Wednesday, Scooby-Doo and Transformer crossovers, right? They're looking past, the Tasmanian Devil and whatever teaming up for a movie or whatever, right? They're looking past all of that, and they're looking at Zasloff is trying to buy what now? Nah, dude. And the other scary thing with all this is that if it does happen, like I said on Wednesday, how much of the stuff is going to get canceled for a tax write-off? And our government our government has been on Warner Brothers Discovery and basically told them, you can't do that. You can't keep doing that. Otherwise, we're going to come down on you hard.
Antitrust suits. There's a reason why they exist, and there's a reason why they haven't been implemented in years.
Right. So, I mean, sorry, I had to close my office door. I was getting an echo, guys. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a terrible thing. It really is. And it just kind of seems like this is all from a streaming perspective because they want to get into your wallet every single month and to have that guaranteed income because they can show it's Sylvester's. They could show investors. They can say, hey, we have 20,000 subscribers that we charge $12 a month. 12 times 20,000 is this much money here. And they can take that to an investor. It's a lot easier to take those kind of numbers to investors and prove your point than it is to say, well, over the course of 4 years, we plan to expand our markets in Maine, Georgia, New York, and California, and that should grow us an extra 12%. And that's on the high end. On the low end, worst case scenario, it's 6%. Well, okay, but then you start going into like different types. What's the 6% from? What are you selling? How are you, how much is the growth going to cost? How much is this and that? And they start asking questions. The less questions an investor has to ask, the better for the company on getting money easily. Okay. So that's the scary thing about all of it is that they have a tool in streaming if they did merge to take to investors and be like, hey, this is, I mean, it even says it in the ad for advertisements, right? They would take that same thing to their investors and work it the same exact way. And then I'll say this, at the end of the day, if I'm paying you any kind of streaming service, this goes for anything. If I'm paying you, cut the ads out. Okay. That's why cable needed advertisement because in order for TV, that's why TV needed any kind of advertisement. You paid for cable back in the day to basically pay to get the service. But the free channels that you got, your 50, 60, 70 channels, whatever it was part of that package because the advertisers were paying to be there. That's why something like HBO had to be an extra $10 a month or whatever because they ran ad free. YouTube does it. YouTube will blow you up with ads constantly until you crumble in and cave to give them 15 whatever dollars a month for YouTube TV or Red or whatever it's called, whatever the premium service is, right? To cut the ads, right? But to keep YouTube free, they have to play the ads, which terrible. It's a bad example. YouTube's a different beast altogether, but if I'm giving Netflix $25 a month, don't charge me for ads. There shouldn't be, as far as Netflix goes, there shouldn't be like an $8 tier that plays ads during the TV shows or the movies or anything else. It just shouldn't happen at all. And that's something that we've seen companies now double dipping into that. And that's definitely something that they would do. So.
Yep. I will say this, where it talked about how Zach. Sorry, just saw that. Anyway, the funny thing that they were saying how Warner Brothers Discovery is hurting for money. They're in a lot of debt. Warner Brothers Discovery also owns TNT and TBS, and there is a wrestling show that is not doing so well. So I have a feeling that this wrestling show will not see into 2025 on these channels. If ending 2024, this time 2024, it being on the airwaves.
All right,
on TNT and TBS.
Are we going to do an AEW talk and how?
Quick rant. We'll try. I'll set a timer for 10 minutes.
Oh my God, man! Look,
but you see where I'm headed.
Well, I do. I absolutely do, and that's kind of the point that I'm making here, they're going to go wherever the money goes. And in the
Yep.
case of AEW isn't growing. And look, I'll say this very, 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 very rarely do I agree with Eric Bischoff. Okay. But and Oracle knows this. Oracle knows that I don't know him, but I don't care for Eric Bischoff and how he kind of weaseled his way into the wrestling business and tries to oversell himself for something that he stole from from a New Japan Pro storyline in the early 90s. But that being said, if Eric Bischoff has a saying, if you're not growing, you're dying in the entertainment business. And I 100% agree with that. AEW has not grown its audience at all. It really hasn't grown its advertisers at all in that regard either. So there's really there's not a whole lot of growth there. And WWE is coming knocking on the door of Discovery going, hey, we want to be on TBS. Hey, we want to be on TNT. And they're going to go where the money is. WWE sold out Madison Square Garden for a house show, an untelevised house show. They didn't put it on YouTube, nothing. The matches are on YouTube because people filmed them and posted it up. But WWE itself had no intention of making it social media, whatever, YouTube, nothing. Okay? They sold out 20,000 people in MSG for a house show. AEW struggles to sell 4,000 people for a live television taping. Okay? This whole merger and all this stuff, like I said, they're going to go where the money is. And especially $55 billion in debt, they're gonna want to dig themselves out of it. And I just, at the end of the day, this is a whole different thing for a whole nother time, different topic, different time for a different topic, right? But I don't want to see AEW end up like Impact or TNA, where they're streaming on Twitch every Wednesday and they get 200 views, right? I don't want to see them end up like that. AEW has been incredibly good for the wrestling business, wrestling television, everything else. It's something else to watch as far as wrestling goes. But that being said, at the end of the day,
you don't fire your meal ticket.
That's a whole nother, like I said, this AEW conversation's a can of worms. I'm trying to keep compressed into the can.
Okay. This is okay. I'll end it with this. You don't fire your meal ticket, and you don't fire the one wrestler that the CEO of this company that you're working for, that you're having your show be hosted on, is probably one of his largest stands. You don't do that. And I'm done. That's it. We can end it there. How about that?
Okay. Well, we'll end it. We'll end the AEW talk there. And we can end on this Warner Brother Discovery merger as in with a very much, it is a terrible thing. If it happens, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing that they're even discussing it, that they're putting it on the table. And it's a terrible thing here that CNN is trying to spin it as if it's a positive light. And I keep making the joke, in a world, right? But it feels like they're trying. It feels like the closer or the further into the future we get, the more and more like Demolition Man we become. Okay.
Ooh, instead of fast food wars, we have TV rights wars.
Mm-hmm. and then watch, in 20 years after everything's said and done, okay, it's gonna be just like Demolition Man, where something Taco Bell won the fast food wars. And I remember in that movie, I heard that line and I said, Taco Bell? That's random out of everyone? Taco Bell? That's the victor? Okay. This is going to be one of those same situations. It's going to be Pluto TV that wins the streaming wars. And everyone's going to be like, what the hell? Pluto TV? But with that being said, like I said, it's a terrible thing. Don't let people try to spin it like a positive at all. If you do think it's a positive thing, I would ask you to reevaluate that and why you think it's a good thing. Because it's honestly it's really not. With all that being said, let's ask the tough question. Is your collection your own?
Sweet.
Now, I know that's probably what everybody tuned in for. I had to keep the main event for the top of the 9 o'clock hour, unlike AEW does.
Ooh.
So I know, cheap shot. I'm sorry, but hey, they fired CM Punk. Okay. And I was really digging that run, but whatever. Okay, that's AEW talk, and we're over that. Anyway, is your collection your own? And when I asked that question, I don't think a whole lot of people really grasp what I meant by that. The reason why I asked that question is the way the influencer model is set up now. You watch reviews, whether it be, in the Transformers sphere, MGO, Jobby the Hung, whatever. And most of these people are essentially paid advertisers. Okay. They say in the following video was paid for by blah, 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 blah. And they have to disclose that information. Right. And then you watch the review and they talk up the figure. Oh, this is the best figure ever. Oh, look, the leg fell off. Oh my God, the leg fell off, but that's okay. You can glue it back on. Hasbro has great QC control. This is a one-off. This is a prototype that they sent me. Don't worry about the leg falling off. And then the next thing you know, it's like the greatest figure ever, and everybody is talking it up. And the reason why I bring up Transformers in this, right, is Tarn, the new Tarn, right, is terrible figure. The arms don't lock into place, and this is Hasbro's design. I'm not making this a Hasbro bash fest, so bear with me. Hasbro's design team, they make really stupid choices and decisions where arms don't lock into place, where they should lock into place. That Tarn's arm is going to just be a floppy mess in a year or so. If you keep posing it, the gun sits on the arm, the gun weighs the arm down, stuff like that. But these people, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, they talk these figures up and they advertise it. They use FOMO in order to get you to buy this stuff,
And it's
right?
not and it's not just toys. I mean, I understand that this is a toy channel and we're going to discuss toys. This isn't lost on me. I understand. But input was there when the influencer model started. We were dating for a while at that point. And the influencer model literally started with the makeup gurus, the makeup the beauty tubers on YouTube. And he saw me buying how much makeup?
A lot.
A lot of makeup, and some of it didn't look good on me. Context, I'm olive toned. That has a lot of context. So there are colors that will never ever look right or good on me. It will either make me look green or make me look gray. There is no in between with that, or turn me orange. So here I am buying all this makeup that is meant for people with porcelain white skin, and I'm trying to make it work because the beauty tuber said that this would work for everybody, and I, like a chump, believed him. And I have a really decent sense of color sense, but it got to the point where my makeup collection literally outgrew the room that we had at the first place we lived together. It outgrew my one room.
Yeah.
And when we were moving out, I looked at him and I went, how much makeup do I actually even have? Like, it was beyond comprehension.
And the thing that I see most of it in, there's a lot of it in the toy community, right? But there's also way more of it in the video game sphere on YouTube. You
Hmm.
get you got people like the big guys, you got like Metal Jesus Rocks and the rest of those guys, right? Who talk up a game, and then you go look at the game and it's $100 now because Metal Jesus Rocks does a review of it. Right now, it's $100 because he talked about it, and then It's like, well, he owns like 4 copies of that game. Now he's going to offload 3 of them for $300 on a game that used to be $5 yesterday that nobody had any interest in, right? So people start to scramble because people, I feel like, look at influencers not from a news or review standpoint, but as maybe like a buddy kind of thing. Like your friends won't lie to you, but they come at you like with that friendly smile, like a snake oil salesman almost, right? So and since they're partnered up with large corporations and they're getting, either free figures or kickbacks or whatever the case may be, they they want to give that good review, not only because they might want to, and they might actually genuinely like the figure. So the figure might, or the game or whatever, might be coming from a decent, like an honest place.
Mhm.
But they also have to sign a contract for the most part. Most of the time, these companies make people sign a contract to give their products a good review.
Yep.
Okay.
That's, and in the makeup situation, there was this one foundation that everybody was saying would flatter everyone. It looks good, blah 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 blah. All the beauty tubers were going down this list of saying how good this is, how good this is, great reviews, and then starting to come to find out that this company was skirting around the FDA laws, and it was the EU who caught it first. But here are all these tubers saying it's green, it's safe, it's cruelty free, and that was not the case at all. But they were saying good things, so people bought it, and then word starts getting around, and some people ended up having allergic reactions because there's certain animal byproduct in the makeup that these people couldn't wear, and people started questioning the beauty tubers after that.
And my point in even asking this question is like, especially when it comes to like third party Transformer figures, I found myself very recently here looking at some of the figures and going, holy crap, that looks great, that looks so cool, and then going and watch a review on it, and a lot of people will love the figure, they talk it up, they this, that, and the other, and then I go watch Bobby Skullface's review and he's smashing it with a baseball bat because that's how badly he hates it. And I hate saying like, trust a review, right? But that's kind of the world that we live in now. We don't, everything's so expensive. We can't just buy a product and hope for the best, right? We have to actually get the reviews and stuff. I feel like you got Gotbot, who gives his honest review on everything that he puts his hands on. And I feel like Bobby Skullface is in that same vein. Anything that Bobby Skullface touches, he gives an honest review on. Whether I agree with it, whether I agree with either one of them, whether it be Gotbot or Bobby Skullface, they give an honest review on it, right? But like I said, if Bobby is saying, "Oh man, this third party ratchet, this should be ratcheted, and this sucks," and he starts bashing it with a baseball bat on purpose, then that to me is like, okay, I need to stay clear of that figure. And so it got me thinking that all these other people are talking up, XYZ's Cliff Jumper this week, and then Bobby will do a review of XYZ Cliff Jumper, and it's a terrible figure, and he points out why it's bad and it falls apart here and this and that. But all of a sudden now everybody's Cliff Jumper for their masterpiece line is XYZ Cliff Jumper. And everyone's talking, that's the best figure ever, and that's this, and that's da-da-da-da-da. And it just kind of got me, like I said, it got me thinking of like, how much of this would you have bought if, and this is a question for everybody, how much of the stuff, currently that you have bought, would you have bought without some kind of influencer model, And that's why I ask, is your collection your own? Or as a collective whole, are we being, kind of force-fed like a fear of FOMO type of situation, right?
That's a good point.
And that's how they're getting money out of our wallets and stuff. And I see it. Oh, go ahead.
Can I say this real quick now that you brought up FOMO real quick?
Yeah.
Or do you want to finish your point and then I'll get into the advertising aspect of FOMO?
All right. Well, I mean that was just that was my biggest. I was just going to lead into, I was going to use that into a lead in for, um, like when you see Transformer fans, right?
Do
They
you want to finish your point first and then I can get into how this is all working from a
yeah,
advertising
that's
perspective?
that's what I was going to finish. Like
Okay, okay.
the Transformer fans, and that's what I was leading it into. The Transformer toy collectors, right? They will. Now sometimes, it does vary case by case, but I see a lot of people saying, "I'm going to get rid of this Insecticon to get that Insecticon because that one's better," but they don't know it's better yet because there's no reviews out for it. They just look at the pictures and they automatically assume that it's better. My thing is, I don't care if it looks better. I want the one that functions better. I want the one that can be handled without falling apart in my hand, right? But I see so many Transformer collectors and fans and whatever, oh, I'll use the Rat Trap, Generations Rat Trap, for example, right? The new one came out, everyone talked up the new one. It's the best Rat Trap figure ever. And it's like, no, far from it. Very far from the best Rat Trap figure ever. But I feel like a lot of people, because it was the new shiny Rat Trap, everybody thought it was the best Rat Trap. Does that make sense? Um, and if you genuinely feel like that is the best Rat Trap, then I'm not including you in this, you know? Um, just saying that there are, it leads into the FOMO, the FOMO thing is what I'm kind of getting at. They take these pictures, they say, "Oh, this is the new, look at the shiny, look at the shiny purple." Like McFarlane does it all the time. McFarlane will release a Batman figure with a terrible head sculpt, and then 3 or 4 months later release the quote unquote gold version that looks better. And then a year later release the quote unquote platinum version that looks exactly like, Adam West or whatever, go ahead.
So here's the thing. Okay, I used to do advertising, blah, 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 blah. The psychology of advertising is really, really simple. You have to create FOMO. You have to create this sense of like you're missing out on something. Join the bandwagon. This is propaganda in its simplest. Advertising is propaganda. I'm going to flat out say that. There is no such thing as good advertising, if I'm being honest. And not in the sense of no news, no publicity is all publicity is good publicity, that kind of thing. This I'm just saying it from a basic humanistic standpoint. Advertising is terrible. It's a very bad situation for people, the consumer, everything like that. And it needs to be highly regulated, highly regulated. And I used to work in advertising. I'm saying this. A side note. But FOMO, the influencer model in FOMO is it goes hand in hand with each other because like I said, I was at the beginning of the beauty tuber situation and I remember that Jaclyn Hill had done a review on Morphe makeup or Morphe cosmetics, and Morphe was a brush company. They sold brushes, really good brushes. I'm not gonna lie, Input knows that I adore their brushes and will only buy theirs from here on out. That again, beside the point, they were always known for their brushes, but they started coming out with makeup. And Jaclyn Hill decided she was going to buy her own little palette of individual uh, eyeshadow pots and make her own palette and see just to kind of test Morphe's makeup and everything. And she loved it. This was not a paid advertising. This was pre beauty tube. This was like on the cusp of beauty tuber FOMO stuff and advertising purchasing. And she gave them a rave review. Input should remember that because I was like, hey, I'm going to try this. They have
Yeah.
makeup now, and I'm really interested in seeing what it is. And I will say this for all, not to seem hypocritical or anything, I did buy a palette and I still have a palette of theirs that I use. It is actually really good eyeshadow. So I'm going to caveat that with that information. And, but because of that, she caused Morphe's website, because of that video, she caused Morphe's website to shut down because that's how many people were going from Jacqueline's video to Morphe's website. And they shut it down. So they gave her a product code called Jack Attack to kind of spur this. And that's kind of about the beginning of this. So advertising has always been about trying to make sure you join the bandwagon for whatever this product is. That's why we're seeing a lot of TikToks and shorts and videos about Stanley cups, like the Stanley tools, power tools. They're making Yeti cups now, and there's a lot of stuff going on about Stanley right now, which is beyond me. Anyway, but that's why we're seeing. You know Stanley Power Tools?
Yeah, no, I'm saying I don't know anything about that situation.
Yeah,
So,
but the whole point is that advertisers through the beauty tuber situation realize that here are these people that people are taking their word as God. These are people, I wouldn't say God, that's terrible, but they're taking their word as valid. These are people who know the industry, know the makeup, know this, know that, blah, 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 blah. For context, Jacqueline Hill was a makeup artist for MAC. Okay, she should know what good product and how to use makeup and everything like that, right? So people are using her opinion to buy this makeup. And advertisers are seeing this, seeing these beauty tubers, seeing these people selling this product, not even selling it. They're saying, hey, this is a really good product and I enjoy it. Y'all should try it. And it's selling out on shelves. Okay, so the beauty tuber, I keep saying beauty tuber, but this influencer model is actually super cheap, like stupid cheap. For the car dealerships that we were advertising for, that was over $100,000 worth a month in radio, TV, and internet advertising. And this was at the earliest stages of internet advertising as well. So so here's this beauty tuber situation where they can spend $10,000 on one person, and that person can make up that $10,000 and multiply it by 20. They just made their money back and more, which is why you see this FOMO situation where they can't, where everything has a good review on it, because if you don't give it a good review, no one's going to buy it. But how can you ensure that you're going to get a good review? Making it in the contract with the influencer that they can't do a negative contract, but depending on the influencer scruples, they have to say whether, that person, especially if they're in the EU, aside the point, but American influencers don't have to disclose that.
Well, if you look at what happened with like He-Man and Kevin Smith, right? Like as soon as Kevin Smith, he said something about being like the biggest He-Man fan. He'd run home after school and whatever and watch He-Man. Then it was like it took one person to remember some clip from his comic book show 10 years ago. It was a Comic Book Man, and then all of a sudden, like the whole everything was like, screw Kevin Smith, this He-Man, this is all lies, blah 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 blah. Like it took that one spokesman that they picked, and because they had like, I guess, like a view of Kevin Smith of being like king nerd or something. I don't know. But it just took him saying that one thing, and then all credibility out the window. And when him and Jason Mewes showed up on Hasbro's stream to advertise that Optimus Prime, the self-transforming Optimus Prime, everybody was like, what the hell is Kevin Smith doing here? Like, it just, like, as soon as Kevin Smith popped up on anything to advertise anything, like, all credibility got lost for almost everything that he was advertising. It had a reverse effect. It was like a more honest way to look at it. Like if Optimus Prime costs, I don't know, what did he cost? Like $1,200 or something. People were buying it to check it out if they could afford it. And then they're like, okay, if it's cool, it's cool. If it's not, if it sucks, then I'll just get rid of it. Right. Kevin Smith had like this weird opposite effect. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, you don't really see celebrities in that role anymore, because celebrities are immediately questioned. Right.
No, and their scruples are questioned.
but YouTubers will pop up
And they're
and
us.
exactly, they're us.
They're
They're us.
us.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so nefarious. Now, again, I know this is a toy channel. I'm only speaking from experience with the beauty tubers. So now you have these people like Jeffree Star, Patrick Star, Jeffree Star, Jaclyn Hill, uh, Nikki Tutorials. Even though I will forever stand Nikki Tutorials, I love her. Just FYI, again, trying to be transparent here. Um, but that's what you start seeing people coming out and accuse Manny, I forgot his name, but Manny something or another, Wayne Goss. You start seeing people accusing these beauty tubers of like grooming and being nefarious, racist, stuff like that because it got too big. These companies were paying so much money for these people to review their product and give it a good review and get the masses to buy it that they started, either these egos were already inflated before, or they were narcissists, what have you. You know what I mean? But the bad side of these people started coming out, and now these companies are getting directly attacked because here's this person who went on an Islamophobic rant or an anti-Semitic rant or a homophobic rant. You know what I mean? Like they went
Yeah.
on this rant, and that goes against this company's trial. So now these companies are starting to get attacked for these people, and it's like um they get this sense. So here are the so now the influencer model is starting to see that backtrack, like with celebrities, because the celebrities would always because people know celebrities are fallible. Celebrities have skeletons in their closet.
Well,
And
and that's something now.
yep.
That's something new because back, all the way up into even like say 20 years ago, you know, Carson Daly was untouchable. Like,
Hmm.
oh, he's such a nice guy and he's this and that, and da 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 da. Da. Now I don't know Carson Daly did anything wrong. I'm just throwing a random 2000 celebrity against the wall, right? But
Tara
like,
Reid, let's go that route.
okay, I mean, like, you can go Jerry if you want to go down the talk show route. You got was it the Sally Jesse Raphael situation and everything else. So, but like, but you started in the 50s. Hollywood was really starting to kind of shape into what it would become later on. Like the early forms, you had like like Marilyn Monroe and I can't think of oh Jesus, I'm brain farting on everybody else right now, but like Frank Sinatra and all those kind of like all those people, like they were infallible because people felt attached to them via their music, via their movies, via their shows, via like Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Like when the world found out that they weren't Lucy and Ricky behind the scenes, that was a whole fiasco, right? Like, but it never got, uh, like, it never got, I guess, like released, I guess you could say, right? Um, like where people were just like, okay, celebrities are fallible and all this other stuff, right? Like, because when it came to advertising, that's why they got celebrities because celebrities were the picture of perfectness back in the day, almost the way that people on YouTube or Twitter or whoever are kind of perceived now, right? And back in the day when something would happen to a celebrity, it would be shock and awe, like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Now it's, oh yeah, look, okay, yeah, we, of course, whatever. But when something like, the whole situation with like Boogie 2988 happens, you know, everyone's like, oh my God, it's the same reaction, right? So like people who like influencers or whatever um are that new celebrity in that regard, you know that they're unfallible. And like I said, that's why these companies will get people. That's why I said in the live stream months and months ago for the Transformer news, I said, I told, I mean, I doubt he saw it, but I was like, I hope Thu is careful while treading this water, when he's popping up on Hasbro and stuff, because a lot of that stuff could backlash against him really, really hard if
And
you know.
in the grand scheme of toys, like it in general, you see The times you've made me sit through those insufferable Hasbro like QVC shows, like, and let's be real, it's Hasbro QVC. It's not some like, let's look at this. No, they're really, those are QVC shows, people. You are watching the adult collector's version of Gem Smackdown. Like, let's
Oh,
be real here.
wow.
I'm gonna be flat out honest with all of you guys. I sit here and I sit there and suffer through it in silence because Input wants to watch it, and I'm here like this is just general QVC for nerd stuff. Like,
Well, and real quick, I saw Blue Raccoon asked, "What about Craftsman?" So Craftsman tools have fanboys like no other.
oh
Okay,
god.
like it is absurd, man. When I was doing car audio and installing car audio, the Snap-on truck would drive in and everybody would lose their mind. And meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying $45 for an 8mm wrench that's, 4 inches long or something. Screw that. I'll go to Harbor Freight, spend $3 or $4 and, get the same effect and get, to get the job done for way cheaper, right? But I will say this, there are the people on YouTube who do tool testing,
They're fun.
they're fun, but they like, dude, they put them through the test. There are people out there test torque wrenches and everything else. And there are people as far as Craftsman goes, Craftsman has fallen off. A lot, like there's people who would tell you find the old Craftsman stuff. That's the stuff that was
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
DeWalt zombies.
that's the stuff that didn't break. Now, now their stuff is snapping off at the head, or it's just not the quality that it used to be. So that's the answer to your question there, Blue Raccoon. He also asked the question, my cousin was a commercial actress and was a part-time voice actress. I never asked her for any job opportunities, but she was in Land River. Oh, was in a Land River Rover commercial. Is that advertising or is that influence?
It's advertising. Influencing in this context, and I feel like we should have given a little bit of a definition, and I kind of posted it on there. But when you're hired to do a commercial or an audio advert, like you're like how Hyundai has been hiring John Cena to do their Happy Honda Days commercials. That's an
Which
advertising. That's
which is the
advertising.
which is the worst decision ever, right? Because you can't see him,
But
right? Like
but anyway, sorry. But that's
which
considered advertising.
which on a side note, real quick about those Happy Honda Days, I think they're playing into that joke because he only does voiceovers,
Yep,
right? Like I
I
think
would
that's
agree
part of
with
the
you
joke.
there. But that would be so. What your cousin did, Blue Raccoon, is advertising for being hired for to be in a commercial or hired to voice in a commercial. That's considered advertising because this isn't a person. In the term of influencing, this is somebody who already has a platform on like YouTube and social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, uh, whatever social media that is out there that people are utilizing, and they're being paid to use that voice, so to speak, their voice being the social media platform of their choice, and being paid by the company to give a review of their product. That is what I consider, that's influencing in and of itself. So he did a follow-up that said, well, my cousin may have two social media, public and private, for family, and I'm one of her followers, and my brother told me she was a celebrity for our great grandma's funeral. It was only family, no news. Okay, so I get where you're coming from in that. Yeah, your cousin was definitely in the advertising aspect of everything. And kind of like how Ernest P. Worrell was in advertising for
Jim
kind of he
Varney.
was Jim Varney was he was an advertising gimmick for, I think, Pennsylvania, like a small corner of Pennsylvania, I believe. Don't quote me on
Uh,
that.
no, 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 no. I think so. Jim Varney started off doing car commercials, I believe, in Georgia. before the Ernest P. Worrell character
I was
kicked
talking
off.
about Ernest P. Worrell himself, the character.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
Jim Varney was doing the Ernest P. Worrell character for like Georgia car commercials
I see.
before it kicked off and became what it became with its own show and movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and but in that context, Jim Varney, if you were in this podunk little town and you saw him come through, he'd be a celebrity for the people who see the commercials, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's kind of like when you see your local newscaster in the grocery store and it's like, oh my God, that's Dave Ward, you know? Um, but a side point.
You know what I mean, Vern?
But the Angry Christian said it's shilling, and for all intents and purposes, that's what it is. They're getting paid to sell a product, and they're being contracted to not give a bad review, which under EU standards is highly illegal, highly, highly, highly illegal. Whereas in the United States, it's not as illegal as you would expect it to be, which is why the influencing model is very insidious when it comes to consumer rights and protections. Because, case in point, the makeup example I had earlier, where the company was selling it as something in this direction and it was something completely opposite. Not only was that illegal in and of itself to sell it, but people were actually getting hurt by it. And these influencers were getting caught in the crossfire because they were just told to read the copy and that's it. It's kind of like when you listen to podcasts and you hear these people give the advert and it's the same advert for June's Journey for like it's the same June's Journey advert for like every single podcast that I listen to. And it's like I could recite it by memory at this point.
And if you guys don't know, today's live stream is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. If
Oh God.
Skillshare. I'm sorry, it's Skillshare.
BetterHelp.
No.
BetterHelp. Casper mattresses.
Oh my God, there's so many
Bombas
of it.
socks.
Like God dang, man. Today's
I listen
sponsor is Transformers Earth Wars.
Sponsored by June's Journey. It's on my phone. If for all transparency's sake, it's on my phone. If you're on June's Journey, and it is addictive. Everything the advertising say is true. It is highly addictive.
Hey, and you know what else is addictive and also fun?
Hitting
Raid
the like
Shadow
and subscribe.
Legends. I just did an entire. Sorry.
I was going to say hit the like and subscribe button to your channel.
See, I don't look. I don't ask people to do that because it's kind of self-explanatory, right? Like if you like what I'm putting out there, then you'll like it. If you dislike it, then dislike it. If you like what I'm doing, with the news and my reviews or my customs or whatever it is, Teal and Pink, whatever, right? Then subscribe, right? Like it's all like it like I shouldn't. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, right? Like I don't need to tell people that because it's automatic now. Like if you want to do it, or if you don't want to and you just want to come back and watch the videos or whatever, or recap the live stream or whatever, that's fine too. I feel what I'm trying to say is like it's unnecessary because everybody knows how YouTube works, right?
Yep.
That's what it is. So, but on that note, everybody, I want to say thank you for joining us for the third installment for Teal and Pink. Episode 4 will be coming fast and furious at you in a year and a half.
Whenever we decide to do it.
So stay tuned for that. I've been talking to Oracle about trying to make this like every other week, so probably like twice a month podcast or video cast or live stream cast or something like that. Anyway, we'll see. No guarantees, but we're working it out. We're trying to figure out because my hang up is I don't want to try and force a topic every week, right? I kind of want it to be something that it is like, I guess, like worthwhile to talk about. Like I said, I don't want to force a topic every week, right? Um, or end up putting some kind of misinformation out there because I tried to like do a like a study cram session in a day on the whole situation or whatever, right? So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, on that note, I want to say thank you for everybody. Let's see. Angry Christian says, I would just tell the viewers to interact with the channel in some way. There you go. That's a good way to do it. And he says Toodles, and Tony Martin says good stuff tonight. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who tuned in for this episode of Teal and Pink. And like I said, we'll be coming fast and furious at you in about a year and a half. And that episode will be sponsored by Skillshare.
Look,
it's a joke. I beat the dead horse, okay, until it's like zombified, comes back to life, and I got to beat it to death again. So,
hey, who was it that said the DeWalt? Angry Christian said DeWalt zombies.
Oh,
no, Google, I did not ask you anything.
Yeah, there you go. DeWalt zombies. Anybody like, Craftsman's got them. DeWalt's got them.
The Ryobi nerds.
The Ryobi guys, which I'm not gonna say I'm one of, okay, because most of my tools are Ryobi, but they're the cheapest at the pawn shop, okay. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Hey, I had to be honest about, we're talking about product that we purchased, and at one point, the makeup I still use, that I was influenced to purchase, so it's okay.
All right. Mighty Car Mods has sold me on Ryobi. There we go. But yeah,
Mighty Car Mods.
Huh?
They're Mighty Car Mods. I can't do the robotic noise, but that's every time you say that, I have to say it like that.
Mighty Car Mods. Yeah. Take care of yourself, guys. Take care of each other. I will see you Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time whenever we go over toy news and Transformers news. Also, National Suicide Prevention Hotline is down in the description below. I keep saying this every single week. If you guys need it, use it. If you guys know someone who might need it, pass it to them. If you think you might know somebody who thinks they might know somebody, man, pass it along. I put it down there for you guys to use it. So please use it if you need it in any form or fashion or anything like that. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. So until then, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Oracle, you got anything you want to say to the people out there in Radio Land?
Happy New Year.